Please note, we would like to make it very clear, we are totally against the form of discipline described in the articles and accounts being used on minors and non-consenting adults. Although some of these accounts are fictional, and others may be an exaggerated reality, none of them are too far from the truth of what really happened back in those days.
Over-the-knee corporal punishment. How common were over-the-knee spankings in primary schools or even in secondary schools? Was it administered by classroom teachers or headmaster? Was it by hand or slipper? Did anyone experience or witness them? Would they have been recorded in a punishment book? Personally, I never witnessed over-the-knee corporal punishment, at school or anywhere else. There was a fair amount of SCP at my primary school, but it was conducted with the recipient in a standing or bending posture with feet on the floor. In the younger ages, though, there was usually an element of restraint, generally trapped under a teacher's arm. It is however rumored that the forum search engine brings up around 1380 instances of contributions containing the words over the knee, and if so, it is reasonable to assume that several contributors have experienced or encountered the imposition of that punitive posture. Not necessarily 1380 of them, though. The way the search engine works in conjunction with quoted posts and various other factors does tend to give rise to duplicate hits. I never heard of or witnessed any over-the-knee punishments at school. We were always told to bend over, either touching our toes, hands on knees for the slipper, or over a large padded chair for the cane. Unfortunately, I did experience and witness over-the-knee spankings at primary school. It was the most common position to receive smacks on the bottom. I suppose it just came down to the teacher you had. Mrs. A certainly gave my backside more than a few good smacks once she had positioned me over her lap. I have checked the link and can see the pictures you posted. I have to say that I too never knew of any over-the-knee corporal punishment at any school I attended. Bottom punishments were usually over a desk or table, or just touching toes or reaching towards them. I remember a few slipperings in gym lessons, some in the actual gym or afterward in the changing room. All were given across either thin gym shorts or school trousers with underpants under them. Both hurt. School CP varied from school to school, and sometimes a change of head teacher meant more, sometimes less CP being used there. Over-the-knee and bottom spankings were very much family punishments that varied immensely from family to family. Many parents would never have dreamt of using spanking at home, whereas others used it routinely for all sorts of misbehavior. For some youngsters, it was only used very occasionally, but some parents spanked for even minor things. Methods varied greatly. Some parents only spanked boys, but many girls were spanked too. It didn't seem to matter if parents were better off or better educated. I've heard it said that older parents tended to spank more formally, perhaps in much the same way as they'd been punished themselves. That said, some who were firmly punished themselves when growing up never used it on their own children. There were certainly no guidelines for parents, and sadly there were occasions when CP became abuse. We had one teacher in grades 5 and 6 who spanked boys over his knee about 10 times in 2 years, and about 10 spanks each time. He would beckon them out to the front and spank them over their short trousers in front of the mixed class. This was in Sydney and would have been unusual and not officially approved, although accepted in the culture of impunity in the 1960s. Only 4 different boys were spanked. 3 of them had been in the same class, at another school, the year before, and their teacher had frequently bent boys over for the cane, also not approved but accepted. The official punishment in NSW was the cane on the hands, usually from the headmaster in that school. 2 of the 3 also received that once. Interestingly, I recently read in the Old School magazine that, although Australian, our teacher had taught at a prep school outside London the year before he taught us. I wonder if he had used spanking over the knee there. The only girl he punished had her skirt raised, standing, and received 1 hard slap on the thigh. He threatened to put me over his knee once. Such threats were rare, and it was quite a shock to me. Here in the United Kingdom, I think that form of punishment back in the day was only used in lower school. But saying that, I did see when I was at an all-male primary school this happen in the dining room by the headmaster. I guess unluckily for me and the other pupils at my second primary school, 3 of the teachers I had preferred to hold the misbehaved pupil across their lap when smacking the seat of trousers, shorts, or underwear. I suppose the embarrassment of being put over the knee in front of the class was just as much part of the punishment as the smarting backside when the spanking finished. I only started bending over for SCP when I was at secondary school. Maffei 1970, well, as I said, I only saw that mostly in lower school. A boy was put over the female teacher's knee in lower school. He had been caught out lying to the teacher about why he was late and had his short trousers taken down. I don't remember any over-the-knee spankings at school. We always touched toes or bent over a chair or desk. I probably thought of that sort of thing as being a bit intimate, more something a parent or close relative, or indeed consenting adults, would do rather than a school teacher. Although, I have heard enough people talking about them to believe that especially in the first couple of years of primary school, some children were punished in that way. It might be something that was more common in the 1950s and 1960s than in later decades.